Welcome back, guys, to the one and only OSB Sports Podcast Show. We're going to have another big day today. Got a couple of great guests on the panel with me today, and we're going to break down a couple of topics. I want to get right into it. I'm going to introduce you to my one and only partner in crime. They call him the Big Kahuna of OSB Sports, Mr. Tommy D.
Tommy D in the house.
How's it going, Tommy?
All good, my friend.
And we got a big-time guest with us on the show today. Probably the best sports analyst, expert, I feel, when it comes to sports betting on the east side or the west side of the Mississippi, the one and only Teddy Brooks. Hey, Teddy, how's it going?
What's up, guys? Nice to be here. Thank you for having me. Very excited about this. Hopefully we make it a weekly thing.
Teddy is the CEO of the Sports Profits.
Yes, sir. See us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
I want to get this show going because we got a couple of great topics today I want to talk about. I want to kick it off with you, Tommy. We're going to do a little baseball. You know, the All-Star break's coming up. They got about 90 games under their belt. And I just want to get some opinions across the board here with you guys and myself included on what you guys feel were surprises early in the season. Did you see any early surprises on teams or disappointments? What's your take on that? And, Tommy, what do you think for the second half? Who may show up and be a surprise?
Well, you know, listen, if you're going to talk about a surprise, it's right here in our backyard, the good old Miami Marlins. All right. This is a team that I think was, 100-1 to start the season to even possibly win the division. They're 70-1 right now, but they're just playing great baseball. They're right up second in Atlanta's butt here. I think they could win. This might sound crazy. I think they could win the division. If they keep on playing the way they're playing, yeah, they need a little help from their ace pitcher. I think they could beat the Braves. And what I did is I took a shot on FanDuel, 70-1 to win the division. I think it's a great odds, 70-1. You have to say they're the biggest surprise. You got Luis Ariz. This guy's batting 382 right now. So, I mean,
chasing Ted Williams, 400.
Well, yeah, I mean that's going to be a tough record to beat. But I mean, if they keep on playing the way they playing, they're kryptonite for the Braves here. They have just an unbelievable record against the Braves. So I would have to say my biggest surprise is the Miami Marlins. And like I said, at FanDuel, you can get them right now 70-1 to win the division.
What other surprise do you see, Tommy?
Well, I mean, if you want, as far as this is no surprise, but you got to give credit to the Atlanta Braves. I mean, they're just a machine, all right? They're 3-1 right now on FanDuel to win the division. I also bet Atlanta, so I hedged with Miami.
Okay.
I mean, this team is just unstoppable right now, all right? 9-1 in the last 10 games here. They're plus 360 to win the World Series at FanDuel. So
what about second half surprises? Do you see anything? Anybody that might sneak up?
I mean, if I had to take a shot on a second half team, it would have to be the Seattle Mariners here.
Interesting.
I mean, they gotta basically figure out how to score some more runs here. But if they could put that together, I think they could put a legitimate run in that division. So I think Seattle is worth looking at. The Marlins is a tremendous surprise. No one saw that. Atlanta's going to be the team to catch.
Before I kick it to Teddy, are you going to be making a wager on that second half with Seattle?
I also took Seattle at FanDuel, and I did make a wager.
All right, Ted, what's your thoughts on that? First, we see 90 games. You're an expert. This is what you do for a living. Any surprises to you in the first half or disappointments?
Definitely, and I'm going to get to my surprises, but I want to touch on Tommy's first. I agree with Tommy about the Marlins. I like what I'm seeing, and that's with their best pitcher playing really bad. Yeah. So if Sandy can get it together, and he's one of my, I was going to talk about disappointments. He's one of my disappointments this year. He's a Cy Young Award winner.
Favorite again this year, too.
Well, yeah, and he has a 3-7 record with a 4.98 ERA. Very bad. But if he can get it together, they have one player that Tommy didn't mention, Yuri Perez. This Yuri Perez, I mean, this guy could be the next, rest in peace, Jose Fernandez. This guy is absolutely incredible. He had a bad game last game, but before that, he's been lights out, and I think he could be a Cy Young contender moving forward. So if they have Sandy and Yuri performing top tier. I like Tommy's 70-1 pick there.
What about disappointments, Ted, in the first half? You see any teams that lay you down a little bit?
I even still have some more surprises. You're getting ahead of me there, Scotty.
No problem.
First of all, in the AL West, everyone thought, is it going to be the Dodgers? Is it going to be the Padres? And it was the Diamondbacks. Now, that's a big surprise for me. They are 5th in runs in the MLB. Another surprise, even though DeGrom, their biggest acquisition of the offseason, didn't work out. He's hurt. The Rangers are still having an incredible year, first in hits in the MLB, and they're doing well on defense also. And my third surprise is the Reds. Out of those 3 teams, Reds, Rangers, and Diamondbacks, I think the Rangers are going to be the team that continues it into the second half because the Reds and the Diamondbacks are doing it mostly off of hitting. The Rangers are doing it off of hitting and pitching, and they're more balanced. So the Rangers are going to be my team that were surprised early, going to keep moving into the second half of the season.
What about a disappointment?
Disappointment, as far as a team goes, I mean, you got the injuries with the Yankees. Obviously, the biggest disappointment's got to be the Mets. I mean, with all the money they spent in the offseason, not performing at all, they're probably going to be selling some players off, maybe. I mean,
fire sale in Shea, City Field, little fire sale.
It doesn't look good for the Mets. That's a big disappointment. Sandy Alcantara is a big disappointment for me as far as players. And one other team that I think, not bottom of the pack disappointment, but weak, is the Blue Jays. I just think no one expected them. People expected them to win a little bit more than they are. And you have Alek Manoah. I wanted to talk about this for 1 second.
Disaster.
This was a guy that was 3rd place in Cy Young voting last year, and he's not even in the major leagues anymore.
I think he's out of the minor leagues now.
Well, he just got back into the minors. So to me, I don't know if I've ever, I mean, you guys are older than I am. You've been following baseball a long time. I don't know if I've ever seen a player go from that high to that low in a half of a year without a major, injury or scandal or something like that. Just dropped off the map. That's incredible to me, and that's a big disappointment to me because I made a lot of money betting first 5 innings on players like Sandy and Alek last year, and this year, if you're betting them first 5 innings, you're getting crushed.
Yeah, well, that's a key, guys. You hear what Ted just said. You find certain pitches, you can ride them, you can really follow them closely and make some nice money.
You can make great money.
And you can go on big runs because sometimes they win 6, 7, 8 games in a row, 8 starts in a row, and you could be cashing those tickets. But I'm going to tell you guys my opinions here because I think you guys missed the boat on a couple of big disappointments in the first half, one of them being the St. Louis Cardinals with that huge lineup. Think about some of the players they have on there, powerhouse players, and they're 15 games under 500 right now. They have been playing terrible baseball, inconsistent. They got a big-time lineup of hitters. Another one that got to me is the San Diego Padres. Look at the first 3 or 4 guys in their batting lineup. I mean, you're talking about guys that got paid nine-figure money. And they're a disappointment. I thought San Diego would be a much stronger team, especially now with Tatis back in the lineup. You got Machado, you got Sosa. So they got a lot of weapons, and they're not playing well. But I do agree with you on one thing you did say. The Cincinnati Reds, to me, is the biggest surprise in baseball. This is a team that's been in the bottom of the barrel for how many years in a row? Now they're in first place. They're playing unbelievable baseball. Had a great June going into July. I think they could keep their momentum and stay steady, and I think they could win that division because there's not a lot in there. And I do agree with the Miami Marlins. They're actually one of my second-half sleepers. And I like the Yankees as a second-half sleeper. I think they had a lot of injuries. Judge has been out of lineup. Stanton's been out of lineup. Some guys have been banged up. So I think the Yankees can definitely pull it together maybe in the second half and start showing up and be running it, for a playoff position. That's my opinion.
I love the Yankees as a second-half comeback team. If they can stay healthy, their pitching is top 5 in the majors right now. It's the bats that have been the issue, but they've had the injury bug. If everybody can get healthy on the Yankees, I think they can make a push. The Orioles are a surprise also. You got the Rays, but I think the Yankees can make a push in that division if their bats get healthy.
Yeah, I think the Orioles are playing a little bit over their head.
Agreed.
Yankees playing a little under potential. A team I'm going to fade in the second half of baseball. I'm going to fade them. I think they just got off to a great start, and I don't think they're going to be able to keep the momentum. I'm going to go against Arizona in the second half. I think they're going to somehow fall. The wheels are going to fall off. Maybe 2 wheels out of the 4 wheels on the bus might fall off, Tommy.
And I just wanted to expand on Ted's comment about the Mets. Now, I'm a lifelong Met fan, and you want to talk about a team that's just disappointing. First of all, the owner of the Mets, this guy's one tough hombre, this guy Stevie Cohen. My question is the Mets manager going to make the survive the season? They're 18 games behind the first place. He put a lot of money into this team. All right. It's just an outright embarrassment. I mean, they're right now on FanDuel 250 to 1 to win the division. Think about it for a second. Last year, this was a World Series contender team. They folded they had an unbelievable record. It went nowhere. Now they're 18 games behind. I mean, rumor had it last week, the owner threw a chair at the manager in a meeting. So the Mets are pretty much done. I mean, what they do with a team like this, I'd have to say that is the biggest disappointment in Major League Baseball right now. One of the biggest payrolls in baseball. It's just not acceptable for a New York team.
Well, I think we touched on the baseball pretty much, and we got a lot to talk about on this show. I want to get into another topic about NFL football. We got a lot of young stud quarterbacks out there. I know Ted is a big component of studying a lot of players and teams and personnel on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, like Tommy and I are. Ted, I'm going to start with you. There's a lot of young guns in the NFL. What do you think this year? Who's going to have a little bust-out season, maybe tail off, and show us what they got?
Yeah. One interesting thing about the NFL versus baseball, which we were just talking about, is you don't really see the drop-off as much. Guys that are top 5 quarterbacks usually don't drop out to the point where they're not even starting anymore. They might drop maybe, to the middle of the pack, but they're not going to drop big. So I expect to see a lot of the same stuff that we saw last year. I mean, you got Mahomes, you got Burrow, you got Jalen Hurts, you got Herbert. All of them are great. I was looking at some of the odds, and one sleeper MVP pick, I think that if he can stay healthy, if he can avoid the concussion situation that he had last year, and people, voters like the comeback story when it comes to voting for things like an MVP, I think Tua actually has a shot. I mean, he's maybe 8th or 9th in the actual odds. I see the big variance. MGM.
What are his odds, Ted?
Yeah, MGM has him at plus 1,400.
Wow.
Caesars has him at plus 2,200.
Wow.
So that's where you could go to Caesars.
Serious numbers.
Yeah, that's where you could go to Caesars and take him at plus 2,200 and get some great value. But there's a big variance there, and when I look at that variance, it means a lot to me. Obviously, you have Mahomes as the favorite. Now, here's something about Mahomes that I like. His air yardage per touchdown completion has gone down every year for the last 5 years. In 2019, he averaged 17.3 air yards per touchdown. Last year, 4.5. To me, that shows offensive efficiency. Those are the types of numbers you see from someone like Brady when he was playing, where it was a short passes getting it done. So that type of efficiency, if that continues, it's going to be hard for Mahomes not to get the most TDs again, not to get all the great numbers again. So obviously that's why he's the favorite. I think possibly the favorite should be Burrow, but my sleeper pick is Tua.
Well, he's plus 450 for most passing yards, Mahomes, and Burrow's right underneath him at plus 700 at FanDuel. I think someone that you really got to watch out for is Bryce Young, Carolina. I mean, he's been bulking up all season. I didn't even know that. He's only 5'10", this guy. He's not a big guy. They said he's put on some pounds, 210 pounds. An interesting stat here, Mac Jones holds the record for the most consecutive completions at 19. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think Carolina's going to work him in the offense, obviously, to make a lot of easier situations. I think he could surpass that 19 consecutive completions. But as Teddy said, it's the normal suspects here. You got Mahomes, you got Burrow, you got Kirk Cousins, Josh Allen. I like Tua if he could stay healthy, but it comes down to
What about your Super Bowl pick, Dak Prescott? You say Dallas going to Super Bowl.
Listen, NFL is a very injury-prone sport. Unlike baseball, not as much. So you got to filter that in. But right now, and another one that I know he's a veteran. I don't have high hopes for Aaron Rodgers this year with the Jets. They brought on a guy 39 years old. All right, what he's really going to do for the Jets, who knows? Is an over-under stat at FanDuel, 3,800 yards passing. I took the under.
I got to disagree with you on that one, 1,000%, because they brought this guy in for a reason, and look what they had before him. This guy is a world champion quarterback. I mean, he won a Super Bowl. Yeah, he doesn't get the job done to get him to the finals, but look what he's done. He's won multiple MVPs. The guy is golden. I mean, he's got weapons. They got a defense.
He's no spring chicken. He's going to be 40 years old.
Brady won a Super Bowl in his 40s.
Yeah. Well, let's see. The Jets are taking a big gamble, but like I said, total passing yards 3,800 at FanDuel. I took under.
Teddy, what's your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers? You got any thoughts on him this year in the Jets?
It's middle of the pack. I think everyone's looking at what Brady did when he went from New England to Tampa Bay, and they're saying, okay, that's what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. I'm not so sure about that. Another thing people are looking at is what Peyton did when he went from the Colts to the Broncos. So these elite quarterbacks have that history, and even Favre when he went from the Packers to the Vikings, they all have that. They all did that. They went there and they had that one or two great years. So everyone's expecting it from Rodgers because all of these elite quarterbacks that I just named did it. I think the odds are in his favor. Whether he's going to be a top 5 or not, I'm not sure. I think it depends on a lot on what surrounds him.
Yeah, you got a lot of young studs in this AFC, especially. Think about what you're up against: Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Herbert. You know, I could go on and on and on with all the names of these quarterbacks.
In his division, he has Tua. He has Allen. He has Mac Jones. So just in his division alone, yeah, it's going to be very tough. But it is Aaron Rodgers. What I think it's going to depend on his defense. It's going to depend on his weapons, his talent.
One guy I think is going to have a really good season this year is Lamar Jackson, because I think all that holding out, everything he did worked in his favor. He got the big bag of money. And I think now with Odell Beckham Jr. on his side with the weapons they had prior to, I think Lamar Jackson's going to have a huge year this year.
Got to stay healthy.
He could win the MVP if he has a big year.
Got to stay healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
Got to stay healthy. Stay out of bounds. Run out of bounds.
Yeah, I like, I put him and Tua and similar, guys that have both been injury prone. Tua's injuries, obviously, with the brain, more severe and significant, but both of them have a chance if they stay healthy. Now, I would go on a limb here and say most likely one of them will get hurt this year. Out of both of them. But if either of them stay healthy, they're going to be at the top.
Guys, Teddy's been in this business a long time. He knows his stuff. Teddy, can you tell the people where they can catch you and find, get some good advice from you?
Yeah, so, we give so much free advice out online. We give it out on the YouTube. We do breakdowns, 2 to 5 minute breakdowns. Then we give shorter picks out on Instagram and TikTok. So you could go to sportsprofits_ on Instagram. You could go to youtube.com/@thesportsprofits. And then if you want to, buy a yearly package with us or something, you could go to thesportsprofits.com. But start out with the free picks. Check out our free picks. We give enough free info out there where at first you don't have to pay for anything to take advantage of what we do. We like to give back to the sports betting community.
Guys, check this man out. He's the real deal. He's been around a long time. He's got a great reputation, and he does work his ass off. So that's one thing that we like. That's why he's on this show. Tommy, how do the people reach you?
Well, I'm not hard to find. I put out daily selections. We cover basically everything. OnlineSportsBet.com. My Instagram, we put up daily videos. Everything is free. OSB_sports. I would say those are the two best channels to find us. But OnlineSportsBet.com, we have all our videos, all our daily breakdown articles daily. Check us out.
And guys, you could check me out. I put out free advice every day, 7 days a week. You could check it out on TikTok at SMPicks, and as well on my Instagram channel. If you want to just, follow along, check out what we're doing. We're red hot right now, I can tell you that. Wow. Got a fire truck and parked right in front of my building. If you want to check us out on Instagram, it's at SM Sports Picks. Hey, I had to mention one thing. I was watching yesterday. It was the 4th of July weekend. I feel like George Shea today, the way I'm throwing to you guys. What'd you think of Joey Chestnut's winning his 16th hot dog title, guys?
Well, he went on
just to break it up a little.
He went on to 72
Oh,
and a
you
half.
took my line, Mitch. That's
I'm
exactly
sorry,
what I was going to
man.
say.
Everyone was touting for this guy to go over. I mean, hey, listen, that guy's just, I don't
It's an
know.
eating machine.
I'd hate to be with him the next day, though, but that's another story. But, yeah, he went under, and I guess he's still the champ.
He is the champ, and the woman, I forgot her name, unfortunately. Sorry about that. She won her 9th in a row, too. So both champs won, and both second-place finished behind them, I think, both won. So it was like 1-2. In the men's, it was Joey Chestnut, and I forget the other gentleman's name that spent second, but it's been 3 consecutive years, Chestnuts, and I think it's George Esperner or something like that.
16 titles he has.
Yeah,
That's,
it's crazy.
you know,
I actually threw a tweet out on my Twitter, OSB Sports Bet. Are you actually betting the hot dog contest, yes or no? And about 90% said yes.
wow.
Listen,
When you're talking about
July 4th, people are bored. You
yeah,
know, they want to make a little money off the hot dogs. Well, guys, it's been a great show. I really appreciate you coming on, Ted, with us this week. And some good insight here. Tommy, my partner in crime, always good to be with you.
Likewise.
Guys, you got to check the show out. It's a great show. We put our effort in. We're going to try to give you the most valuable points and inside moves to give you that betting edge. Check our show out, OSB Sports, on all podcast forums. Remember, we're on all podcast forums. Check it all out, and we'll catch you back here next week.